Welcome to GrayPrimer, a weekly show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and in this episode I'm kicking off a month-long series dedicated to Japanese hobby kits. It's Japan July on GrayPrimer, and I'm starting with a Zaku First Grade versus a Zaku High Grade. So not that long ago, I put out a video that was actually my first Gundam, this little guy up here, and that was very cool. I really enjoyed the entire process, but ever since then, the hobby group I attend on a Wednesday night has been telling me to get myself some Zakus. So I got myself two different types of Zakus. This one was €10, this one was €20. First grade and a high grade. I really want to find out what's so exciting about Zakus. This group talks about Zaku models a lot. I believe there are a bunch of different ones, but I have two of them here that I'm going to check out. And yes, indeed, this is the first of several Japan July videos where I look at Japanese hobby kit manufacturers. I go through a few different ones, a lot of different types of kits, some weird, some wonderful, but all really interesting. Hopefully for you as well as for me. But let's kick things off with these Zakus and see if they're everything they're cracked up to be. Back soon. So what we have are Zaku 2s. MS06S here. This one's just an MS06. There's text underneath there as well, but it's obscured by the Zaku itself. This would have been €10, and this is €20. So twice the price. Does twice the price mean twice the quality, twice the accessories? I guess we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna pop this one out of the way for a second and instead focus here on the one that would have cost a tenner. Let's have a look at that first. Looks like he's standing on the planet, but generally pretty nice art. Interesting gun there as well, sort of Tommy gun look to it. And I like the spiked pauldron there. Look, repeated art, and then some product images. I hope it looks like that. If it looks like that for a tenner, that'll be fantastic. Japanese text around the side, and it just shows as a 1/144 scale model, and it is a first grade. And let's get into it. Okay, is it just one color? Okay, so here they are. The camera's picking this up as like a pinky red, but in reality it's more of a peachy salmon color, and it's all just one color. So the weapon detail that is showed here on the side and on the front of it being black, and these other like the knee pads and the soles of the shoes and stuff as being a different color. No, it's all just this. There are no other components. As for level of detail for an entry-level Gundam that's a tenner, it's pretty good. I mean, you see the detail on the weapon there, the fingers and everything on the hands. It's gonna be basic, I think, a basic articulation. I'm still excited to get into it. The instruction manual is a very trimmed down one. It has got a color guide there to give you an idea of what this should look like. The different sprues, what's on those, and then actually the instructions here. It looks to be fairly straightforward to put together. I can't see there being any problems. So that's the first grade out of the way. Let's have a look at this high grade. So like I said at the beginning, this is €20 from the same shop, and let's see if it's twice the stuff. It has some nice images here on the side. Looks like additional weapons. I'm liking this look of this bazooka as well. And I don't know what it's supposed to say there. Prince something of Zeon. And then the rest is obscured. I couldn't find anywhere else in the box where it's repeated. Maybe it says it somewhere in the instructions. Okay, so we've got multicolor sprues, so that's great. And it looks like this includes the poly caps as well, the more rubbery components for articulating the arms and legs and everything. So immediately we're seeing the multicolor sprues, the poly caps, definitely twice the box size-wise, but it's the same scale, and a more detailed manual here as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's definitely a big leap up here in the amount of included stuff. I've got, I think, 3 different colors on the sprues. I've got these poly caps as well, and definitely seems to be more detail in here too. Lots more weapons. And even when you look at the hands here, there are actually different variants. These give a much more realistic feel. And then on the weapons runner here, you've got variant weapons, the bazookas, the missile launcher. And I mean, how cool is it that the missiles actually load in individually into these launchers? That's just next level detail. Cool axe there too. And then just looking at the instruction manual, oh, we can see now what the text was in the front of the box. Principality of Zeon, mass productive mobile suit. And then you need exceptional eyesight for this. Wow. If you weren't used to making model kits, this could be a little overwhelming. But really, when you break it down, when you take an individual cell here of action steps, it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, overall it can be a bit much. So seeing huge differences here within the contents of the box, the instruction manual between the first grade and the high grade. But let's go get them both built, and I'll be right back. So I had this build as Zaku versus Zaku, but really it's first grade versus high grade. So they're both Zaku 2s. This is an MS-06 and MS-06S, whatever that represents. Yeah, I dig it. They're nice and chunky. I like this, the spiked pauldron that each of them has. The shield down the right arm here is very cool as well. The weapon, it's kind of neat. It's like a Tommy gun with a fold-out sight and hand grip. And definitely with the more expensive model, bearing in mind this is €10 and then this one is €20. The more expensive model does come with more articulation. There are poly caps in there, so it does feel a lot less like you're just grinding plastic on plastic when you move it. And you get like a hatchet with this, a bazooka, you get these missile pods down on the legs, and I'll have a closer look at those in a second. But let's take the €10 one, the first grade Zaku 2, let's have a look at that first. And this color is not my favorite color in the world. It's a weird peachy, pinky, sort of reddish oddness. It looks a little bit more shiny on the camera than it does in real life. I think it's just picking up a lot of the studio lights here, but it's okay. Like some articulation, feet move up and down. The legs, yeah, they do come in and out a little bit, so there's some flexibility there. These skirts, I think, move. No, they're fixed. Okay, and the arms, yeah, we've got decent enough articulation there, but everything just feels a little bit fragile, I guess. Like it's going to give. It doesn't have the assurance that we had a few months ago when I was building that Blue Destiny model, my first ever Gundam. I'll put a link to that in the show notes below. But this is okay. You can kind of hear it. It's just all plastic. And it feels like it'll come apart just, yeah, you can see it there. It's not really hanging in there by much. I definitely think this would be one that you'd be thinking possibly putting glue on. But we'll see in a second that that's not just restricted to first grade models. So it's okay. It probably are a really great way to introduce yourself to Gundam. Although you're missing out on quite a lot of stuff. You're missing out on the posability, the multicolor plastic. And yeah, it might be a little bit frustrating when stuff starts to fall off the second you start to play around with it a little bit. Paint it up and glue it and never know that it was just a tenner's worth. Then we're into the high grade, and you can see the multicolor plastics in use here. Obviously there's no paint on this. These missile pods on the ankles, which don't seem to ever want to just stay still. They're spinning around all the time, which in itself is a little frustrating. And they're a little annoying, so I've just taken them off and put them off to the side here. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're pretty cool. I like the individual missiles that are inside them as well, although once they're in there to stay, I feel. So posability-wise, even you can see the feet here, there's much more flexibility. Everything feels like it's supposed to move as well. It doesn't feel like it's about to snap off. Although the accessories, you probably before you start to pose this, you'd want to take the likes of the bazooka off the back there, the little hatchet out of the side holster, and now there's much less likely to have things flying off as you play around with this. But I will just move this gun slightly out of the way because there's definitely an issue in this front panel. This constantly wants to come off. It really doesn't take anything at all for it to come loose, and this entire piece here just comes out really easily, and then these little hoses have nothing to hold them back, and the skirt now has nothing to hold it back either. It falls straight out there. So it seems to be just this one piece. I don't know that it would cause any problems if I glued that. There are no moving parts around that apart from the skirt. Yeah, I might just file this connector back here a little bit, glue it in place, and then the skirt should be able to come in and out without the risk of it like popping out that, I guess, belt buckle style of thing. But once again, a reminder that at this point there's no glue in this. This is all just sort of clicked together. You can see the little holder here for the bazooka at the back, and that just actually pushes up and out of the way, which is another really cool feature. But a decent kit. I do like the multicolor plastics. I like the posability in this thing. There's a lot you can do with it, and it does come with a couple of variations in the hands. You have the same weapon as in the €10 one, the first grade, but you also get a few additional ones, those missile pods, but also this cool little hatchet thing, and then the bazooka as well, which has got some lovely details to it. Folding sight there. I think the handle folds up as well. Yeah. So something that would really come in useful within posing these two. So for a tenner, this represents fantastic value for money. For 20, this is definitely twice the value plus more. The posability, the poly caps so that you are feeling like you're supposed to be moving the arms around and not just grinding plastic on plastic. The only downside really being the belt buckle, as I called it, that would need glued in place to really give that central locked in feel. Whereas now it feels like it just sort of spring apart if I turn it the wrong way. A little bit of glue in there will resolve that without compromising movement within the rest of the kit. So Japan July for me is off to a great start. I really enjoyed putting these two together. I attended an online Wednesday night hobby hangout with a bunch of other lads from Ireland, and they're mad into Gundam, mad into Battletech as well. So maybe that's something I'll look at for the channel in the future. But right now I'm focusing all of my energies all this month on Japanese model kits. And this has been a great place to start with a couple of these Zaku IIs. I've had fun putting them together, and they went together really quickly with minimum cleanup. On the next episode, I'm going to be leaving the 1/144 scale behind. I am going up to 124. Although the actual kit is going to be quite small because it's just like this dude in power armor. And the company, I'm going away from Bandai as well temporarily. I'm going to go over to, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Kotobukiya, who have this range of figures and vehicles under Hexagear. And the particular one I'll be looking at is the Governor Warmage Hetzer. So really excited to bring that to you in the next episode. I hope you're enjoying Japan July so far on GrayPrimer. If you are, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you on the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.